This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Welcome to the Rich in Life podcast, the space where we redefine success beyond money and titles, because real wealth isn't just about income. It's about freedom, impact, and building a life that truly feels as good as it looks. Whether you're running a business, managing a career, raising a family, or juggling it all, this podcast is here to help you create success on your terms. So sit back, get comfy, grab your headphones, and let's get rich in life. Welcome back to another episode of the Rich in Life podcast. If you tuned into episode 1, thank you for all of your amazing feedback and shares on our inaugural episode. It was really great to hear how these conversations are resonating with you of what being rich in life truly means to you. Today, we're going to dive into something that I know many of you have either felt pressure to do or have just found yourself caught up in at one point or another, called the hustle culture. We've all heard the narrative, work harder, grind longer, sacrifice everything. But I'm here to tell you something a little different. What if I told you that hustle culture is actually keeping you broke? And not just financially, but keeping you broke mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Stick with me as we break this down in this episode of the Rich in Life podcast. So what's the biggest lie that we've been sold about hustle? We've been sold it for years, right? The harder you work, the more successful you'll be. The idea that if you're not working all the time, you're not doing enough. Because we couldn't possibly just say no, even though no is a complete sentence. And here's the dangerous part. We begin to equate hard work with our worthiness. Like if we're not constantly pushing, then we're falling short somehow. For a while, personally, like longer than I would like to admit, I thought that the only way to succeed was to work and to do all of the things. People were constantly asking me, how do you do it all? You're a single mom of 4 kids. You have a business. You have a family. I'm involved in so many community activities, on board of directors, making time for friends, all of the things in my life that were important to me. So how did you do it all? I just said, I just do it. What choice do I have? But at the meantime, I sacrificed sleep, my health, time with family, literally everything got pushed aside to make more time in the day. I told myself that it was all for a reason, right? That I can do it all. And I really had truly believed that if I said no to something, that I was a failure and it was just an excuse to be weak. I really did look at it like a sign of weakness if I said no. So guess what happened? I had burnout. And burnout was something that I never, ever believed in. I thought that it was just another excuse. But I hit burnout really hard. And I literally had to disappear to bring myself back to life. No one really saw me. I took myself off the grid, took myself off social media, and I really went to a dark place. But that's when it actually all hit me. The hustle wasn't actually bringing me the fulfillment I was seeking. It was mostly keeping me just busy. Because success isn't about pushing yourself until you break. It's about finding a balance between hard work and what actually nourishes you, whether that's rest, relationships, or personal growth. And hustling doesn't guarantee success. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're going to make money. There's the saying of, what are you trading your time for? What's the ROI on your time? Because what truly matters with being rich in life is cultivating a mindset that honors your well-being and knowing when it's time to step back so you can show up fully for what truly matters in your life, which for me personally is my children. So let's get into the 3 ways that hustle culture is keeping you broke. I'm talking financial, mental, and yes, even time-wise. The big irony of hustle culture is that if you're working harder, it doesn't always mean you're making more money. In fact, overworking can actually lead to poor decision-making because you're not working at your top-tier finest level. You end up getting caught in the busy work trap. Things that look productive, they don't actually move the needle. All goes back to what I was just saying about the time into your ROI. So let me paint this picture for you. A lot of business owners, they think they're saving money by doing everything themselves. And a lot of times it's a control thing. So whether it's answering emails, managing social media, or handling all of the admin things, they want to do it all because they can't relinquish their control and they think that no one else can do it better than them. But here's the truth. By doing it all, you're limiting your income potential. You're trading your time for money, and it's unsustainable. You will never grow in your business if you keep going on this trajectory. I've seen so many entrepreneurs stuck in this cycle, more entrepreneurs than I can count that I have worked with who specifically come to me to help them with this. They're scared to delegate or automate because they think it's an expense that they can't afford. They're thinking of the money, but not delegating means that they're staying stuck. They're doing the same things over and over again, which doesn't create more time for growth. So look at your to-do list and pick one task that you can automate, delegate, or eliminate. You can apply this to your personal life too. This doesn't just have to be about for business owners. Can you maybe hire a babysitter? Can you get a task helper to run your errands? So that way you can fill up time for things that truly fulfill you in your life. So the third way that hustle culture is keeping you broke is mentally and emotionally broke. If you're constantly grinding, you're going to hit a wall. Overworking creates decision fatigue, stress, and eventually a lack of creativity. When you're always reaching to what's in front of you, you stop being proactive. You're just going through the motions. I've experienced this myself, right? So I've had days where I didn't even know what day it was because I was in a constant loop of working without a break. But here's the kicker. When I started time blocking breaks in my calendar, which y'all know I am a huge fan of, I could step away and create a mental space, and that's where the breakthroughs came. I found my best ideas came to me when I wasn't in go mode. And this simply looks like going for a 10-minute walk, stepping outside for some fresh air and getting out of your office environment, or just sitting in your car and allowing for a mental break. You really don't have to overcomplicate this, trust me. You don't have to feel like you need some giant time block for this either. It can be something as simple as 10 minutes where you take a step back, take a breath, get some fresh air, change your environment, and allow new ideas to flow to you. So I want to challenge you to block out at least 1 hour a day for what we call white space. Time for thinking, time for planning, or time for resting. Whatever you feel like you need to get your juices flowing again. Your brain needs to stay sharp and creative, and just like the muscles when we work out, we need to allow it to rest. The third way that hustle culture is keeping us broke is time broke, or the lack of freedom. So we all want success, we all want nice things, we all want a good life, we all want the things that we want for our life. But whether you're building a career, raising a family, or juggling both, like most of us are, success often feels like the end goal. But really, what's the point of achieving success if you have no time to enjoy your success? Hustle culture tricks us into thinking that the busier we are, the more fulfilled we're going to be. But the reality is, if you're constantly in go mode, you're likely missing out on life's most meaningful moments. How many of us think that we're expert multitaskers? We can do this while listening to this. We can do this while being with our children. We think that we can do all the things because we think that we are short on time, but I'm here to tell you that you can create more time. And if you're a parent, you know the pressures of always trying to be more, being more for your kids, for your partner, for your community. It's easy to get stuck in the cycle of constant demands, whether it's the school runs, work, managing a household, taking care of parents, whatever those responsibilities look like to you, we all have them. And you can end up feeling like you're building a life that owns you instead of creating one that you're actually enjoying. So here's the hard truth. No matter how much success you achieve, if it's consuming all of your time, you're left with nothing to actually live for. Whoa, y'all. I want to say that again. No matter how much success you achieve, if it's consuming all of your time, you're left with nothing to actually live for. True success is about balance. It's about carving out the space to enjoy the things that really matter. Whether that's spending time with your family, focusing on your health, or simply taking a moment to breathe, because how many of us forget to breathe in our days? Success isn't just about what you do, it's about how you live your life. So moving in the theme of setting time aside, this week, can you see if you can set a non-negotiable boundary in your life? Maybe to you, it's carving out time for yourself. Maybe it's setting family time as sacred time. Or maybe it's just saying no to extra commitments because you can say no. Make it a point to protect your time. You might be surprised by how much more you can accomplish when you create the space to truly live and also recharge. So what did we learn about the hustle culture? Hustling nonstop is not the key to success. It's about creating a life that's sustainable, setting boundaries, and making sure you're aligning with what truly matters, not just chasing more work. True wealth isn't about what's in your bank account. It's about the time you have to live fully, the mental space to enjoy the things that bring you joy, and the freedom to make memories with the people who matter most. Because let me tell you something, you can't take the money with you when you die. And at the end of the day, people aren't going to remember how much money you had in your bank account or the nice things that you had. They're going to remember the time that you took to spend with them. They're going to remember the selflessness that you imposed upon them. They're going to remember how you made them feel, not what you bought for them. So what's one boundary you're setting this week to break free from the hustle culture and start prioritizing the things that truly matter for you and making the time? DM me at rich_in_life_podcast and let me know what you're making time for this week. Until next time, stay aligned, make time for what fills you up, and remember the most valuable thing you can give is your time.
Live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.